Holds there for.
Now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney, in for Gary this morning.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
We have a lot to get to this morning, but first, it was a little bit of a messy commute in for us this morning. Looking at the wind chill's not so good either.
Yeah, there are still some roads out there that are snow covered, so budget some extra time as well as scraping the ice and the snow off your car windshield this morning. But on top of that, it is still cold out there. Now, just how cold, let's talk about those wind chills across central New York. It's a wind chill of 6 degrees, so happy second full day of spring, everyone. It's very cold out there today. 10-degree wind chill in Hamilton, 3 up in Saranac Lake, and we don't really warm up by much today. The winds pick up, gusting as high as 30 or so miles per hour, sustained winds at 20 miles per hour. And we're still seeing remnants of lake effect snow taking place on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, the most notable band, which is south of Route 20. And in fact, the exact middle of Otsego County, right north of Oneonta. This is probably causing reduced visibility down in Lawrence, right across Route 205, north of Route 51, and of course heading just south of Milford. And over the next 12 hours, this lake effect snow will continue to wind down, but the winds do remain strong and temperatures also remain pretty chilly. Officially on paper in the 20s, but it will feel like the teens and single digits. Following this, we've got a brief quiet stretch of weather for tomorrow before we're tracking yet another weather maker this weekend. We'll talk all about the latest details straight ahead. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. There was a lot of back and forth on the
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back. Time now for your Munson Commute Cast as we take a look at road conditions all across central New York before you head out to work today. Starting out, we've got something to report right along Route 8, but on top of that, we are looking at slower speeds along I-88, same thing along Route 20, locations where isolated lake effect snow bands are still lingering. Just a heads up for that. As a stalled vehicle on Route 8, right around Morgan Road, you can see right here. And again, there even is some spots on Route 51, Route 28 that are a bit slower as some lake effect snow bands are still lingering in some spots. But in the Mohawk Valley, things are looking pretty okay along I-90, the arterial. Same thing for 5S east and west and Route 49 to Rome and back. But there is, if you're heading north and south, there could be some slowdowns, especially from Route 28, I-90 to Cooperstown and back, and maybe the same for 790 to Remsen. But for now, the lake effect snow bands are no longer north of the valley. Your commute cast to work today, watch out for some snow-covered roads, especially those side roads. There could be some slick spots there as well. Budget extra minute or so to scrape that scrape the ice and snow off your windshield. On top of that, too, this evening, even though it's going to be mainly dry, it's going to be very windy, so definitely want to spend a little bit of extra time gripping the wheel. I know last, I don't know if you remember, Ben, a week or so ago, driving on the windy conditions, it was really bad, so just a heads up for that this evening.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. Pope Francis once again limited his public speech.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Welcome back, everyone. After a pretty quiet start to the day yesterday, giving way to some snow squalls, still some reduced visibility is taking place right now in isolated areas. But in a live look at Oneonta right now, just a few light snow showers taking place with some heavier snowfall in the far distance. Currently 18 degrees. And again, all across central New York, it's feeling very cold. Definitely bundle up heading out there this morning. Officially 20 degrees on paper at Griffiths and Rome, but you factor in that blustery wind, it's currently feeling like 6 degrees out there right now. On top of that, on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, we are seeing a few isolated to scattered lake effect snow bands, some taking place in central to southern Otsego County, parts of Shenango and Madison County, and of course one in northwestern Oneida County. In fact, I'm going to zoom in the one in northwestern Oneida County to see exactly what roads are impacted right here. You can see it's just north of Rome, right along Route 69 out of Camden. If you were heading up Route 69, again, a heads up, there could be reduced visibility in that snow band briefly. These lake effect bands move fairly quickly. Regarding those temperatures today, again, climbing into the mid to upper 20s, but it's still going to be blustery and windy. Wind chills only peaking into the low teens for today in the valley, even colder as you head into higher elevations. But clouds will decrease throughout the day. Things quiet down, but then our attention turns to another system. As you can see here, lake effect snow winding down, clouds giving way to peaks of sunshine, still blustery, windy, still cold, but the winds do eventually calm down by tonight. A quiet start to your Friday, still a bit on the cool side, but sunshine will move in. Then clouds will start to arrive by the afternoon. And then here is where the forecast gets a little bit tricky. I was pretty shocked myself looking at the data coming in this morning. But as you can see here comes that coastal low. But take a look at where that cold air positioning is. We've got nearly all dark blue here in central New York, and it will continue to remain on the snowy side in some locations as that warm air surges in from the south, melting things in areas south. You can see some freezing rain and sleet along that mixing line there as well. And then backside snow will move through following that, heading into the late Saturday night and into early Sunday. But there is still variation in some of that data, because if you take a look at multiple other models, we can see that that mixing line is farther to the north, not impacting Utica, mainly impacting areas north. But as of now, we're going to hold off our snowfall forecast until the very earliest tonight or tomorrow morning. But just a heads up that if you live in the North Country near Old Forge, you have a better chance of seeing a nearly all snow event, while areas in Otsego County and south could see primarily snow turning over to rain. Still windy with decreasing clouds today in your 7-day forecast. We're monitoring Saturday, but beyond that, spring eventually makes its delayed return as temperatures do climb into the upper 40s to low 50s, with dry weather initially, then turning over to rain showers by Wednesday and into the middle of next week.
How nice. Spring finally makes its return.
Yeah, a little bit late to the party.
Just want warm weather, Eric. I just want the warm weather.
Do you want just single-digit wind chills? We'll give you that.
No, I don't want single-digit wind chills. Thank you very much. Coming up next.
Now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning once again. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Ben Kinney, in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
So let's start this half hour with a check of that Storm Tracker 2 forecast. Many of you waking up, looking outside, seeing a nice little blanket of snow out there. But the big story is the wind chills, Eric.
Yeah, wind chills, the main thing. Even this morning, though, with the snow, budget some extra time because some of the roads are still snow covered, a little bit slick in some spots, but on top of that, it's also bitterly cold. Let's take a look at those wind chills across our local area. We're talking about single digits or near zero. I'm pretty sure in some locations north it is below zero. I will check in that data in just a few minutes, but you can see 6-degree wind chill in Rome, 12-degree wind chill in Hamilton. In a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, we are still tracking some lingering lake effect snow taking place at this point. It's pretty surprising to see lake effect snow usually this late in the season because most of the Great Lakes usually freeze over, but with the Great Lakes still largely thawed, this creates a perfect recipe for these late season lake effect events to take place. Just a few spots of reduced visibility early this morning, and that snow eventually does come to an end. We do quiet down weather-wise, but the winds do remain strong, and those temperatures do remain very cold today. Definitely bundle up heading out to work or school this morning. Following this, we've got a bit of a quiet stretch of weather in store for us tomorrow before more unique weather arrives heading into this weekend. We'll talk about that in the full forecast straight ahead. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. As a local business
Welcome back. Time now to showcase the weather photo of the day on this Thursday. And even though we are looking at snow on the ground, feeling a lot less like spring a few days ago, the conditions were perfect for flowers and honeybees. Take a look at this beautiful shot right here sent in by Kate. The beautiful purple flowers here. I'm not too familiar with flower kinds, so I might need help with this one, but what I do know is honeybees and how valuable they are to our local environment. So again, a great photo right here. If you want to submit a photo like this one, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics on that link at the top of your screen right there. Temperatures this morning, still a bit chilly, but for the most part, we are looking pretty dry, except for locations in isolated lake effect snow bands in northwestern Oneida County and parts of Otsego County at this point. And again, regarding those temperatures, on paper, we are in the 20s. Wind chills near zero up in the north country, right around 1 degree wind chill. And with some of these clear skies, we could reach below zero by the time sunrise does occur. We'll talk about this, how warm it gets today, and eventually what we're expecting for this wintry system for this weekend straight ahead. Ben?
Eric, I believe that's an autumn crocus. I looked it up on Google. I just Googled it.
I've seen more of them bloom recently too as well in like people's gardens and on the side of the road. Those daffodils, those have been blooming pretty recently as well.
Yeah, they absolutely have. Thank you very much, Eric. Well, a limited number.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Welcome back. We've been talking throughout the newsroom about the flower. We think it's a crocus. Of course, we're not flower experts, so of course, provide your feedback for those of you who know what it is. I think it's a spring crocus. I'm not sure if different kinds of crocuses, but we believe it's a crocus. But turning from flowers to weather, this morning it's cold and in some spots it's snowy. In downtown Utica, the snow bands have passed and things are looking relatively dry now. Roads are greatly improved in the lowest elevations, but still a heads up for some side roads. They are still snow covered a little bit, and even underneath some of that snow, it could be a little bit slick with some icy spots. So a heads up for that this morning. Currently 21 in Rome, but it's still very windy out, so it feels like 8 degrees. So bundle up if you are heading out this morning. A live look, the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Still some lingering lake effect isolated snow bands taking place. These bands are roughly a few miles across, so there could be largely different conditions depending on where your location here locally. In fact, one location is actually just along the Lewis and Oneida County border. And finally, another snow band just passing north of Norwich in Chenango County. Throughout the day, temperatures climb into the upper 20s, but again, it's going to be a windy one. Wind speeds sustained at roughly 20 to 25 miles per hour, so it's only going to feel like the teens and single digits throughout the day today. So keep that heavy winter jacket handy from sunrise to sunset. But heading straight to our Skycast, because we do quiet down today weather-wise with less snow giving way to even some peaks of sunshine. But our attention turns to this weekend. Friday, it's looking pretty quiet, some sunshine peeking out initially. Still a cool start. We warm up into the 20s and eventually the low 30s. Beyond that, a coastal low begin to arrive tomorrow. And the concern with this one is the exact positioning of the mixing line where snow turns to rain. And notice 4 a.m. Saturday, some locations are below freezing, some are above freezing, and there's variability in where that warm layer is because you can see here that snow still remains pretty steady in the north country and more rain surges in south before at least more snow arrives in the back end of that system before things do eventually dry out. And there's still uncertainty with the positioning of that warm air sector, but just a heads up. We're going to be possibly putting out a snowfall forecast at the very earliest tonight, the latest by tomorrow, to give you guys a heads up of how much snow we're expecting. But an early call is if you're living in the North Country, you're likely going to see a mainly all snow event. If you live south, mainly all rain and some snow initially, but that uncertainty lies in the Mohawk Valley. Today, though, it's windy with decreasing clouds, wind chills in the teens and single digits. A little warmer tomorrow, and then we're tracking that low pressure system on Saturday. But beyond the next few days, it's looking pretty quiet. In fact, more spring-like as we're looking at temperatures in the 40s and 50s by the middle of next week.
A viewer who's a master gardener just called, informed us it's a Pickwick crocus.
A Pickwick crocus.
Pickwick
Thank you so much, because we were losing our minds here trying to figure that out.
I'm not a botanist by any means.
Thank you so much.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Eric. A record number of donations from New York.
Now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning once again, and thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney, in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
It's a chilly one out there, Eric. No two ways about it. It's cold.
And I think it feels more cold because it's nearly the end of March.
Yep.
We're already thinking towards spring. People are putting the snowblowers away, and I feel like even though we can kind of say that like the worst of winter is over, I never want to say put those snowblowers away, because we've had snow on Mother's Day, we've had snow in late April, that nor'easter a few years ago.
Yes, I do remember that.
So even though it does get warmer out, still just it's better to play it safe. And
yeah, it is.
this morning, it's still really cold out there. Wind chills in the single digits in the Mohawk Valley. You can see here, 4-degree wind chill in Rome with some lingering lake effect snow showers. And back to the radar, we are seeing some isolated lake effect snow bands, some of them producing some pretty notable snowfall rates. Just north of Norwich, Gilbertsville, Otsego, you're probably seeing a pretty good snow band taking place just outside your window right now. And secondly, just in northern United County, around Route 26, Ava, north of Florence, also seeing a pretty notable snow band. But the snow will wind down throughout the morning and give way to blustery and windy conditions. Even though on paper, you can see those temperatures do climb into the upper 20s, wind chills will still remain in the teens and single digits. So keep that heavy winter coat handy throughout the day today, as it feels like a return to mid-February. Following this, we dry out tomorrow, warm up a little bit, and then we're tracking another wintry system arriving this weekend that could bring some significant snow to some locations and mainly rain to others. We'll talk about the latest details on that straight ahead. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. There was a lot of back and forth on the Utica.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back, everyone. Time now for your Munson Commute Cast as we take a look at road conditions all across central New York and provide updates on your commute to and from work today. Starting out, a look at those traffic flow conditions all across central New York. We're noticing a slowdown along I-88 between Oneonta heading out closer to Albany. Same thing for parts of Route 28 there as well. And again, zooming into Route 8 in between looks like Bridgewater and Utica as I stall the vehicle right at Morgan Road. So heads up, there is a vehicle incident right there. Regular drive times along I-90 and the arterial, it's looking okay, but there's a difference when you head up to, for example, up near Camden, up near Ava in Oneida County, and heading south as well. You can see 5S, Route 49 looking pretty okay. But Route 28, you can see here, average speed of 36 miles per hour, a bit slower, 40 miles per hour, heading it from I-90 to Cooperstown. But from 790 to Remsen North, things are looking relatively okay. Heading out this morning, watch out for some snow-covered roadways, especially on less traveled roads. The main roadways, for example, I-90, the arterial and Utica are looking okay. But this evening, even though it is going to be dry, the winds are going to be strong, so a heads up to grip your steering wheel a little bit on the extra side to make sure that your car is going to sway it back and forth. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. The New Hartford Presbyterian
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's still feeling bitterly cold out there this morning with those cold wind chills and temperatures feeling like the single digits. Downtown Utica right now, after some snow squalls yesterday and overnight, some locations still seeing snow. A location not currently seeing snow is right here. Roads looking pretty okay in downtown. But again, it's still cold. Feels like 7 degrees in Rome. Other locations still feeling a little bit cooler as well. And in the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, remnant lake effect snow bands are still taking place. We're going to highlight one snow band in particular because this one is looking pretty strong. A very thin line, maybe about a mile or two across, that is producing greatly reduced visibility just north of Norwich. In fact, that looks to be going right over South New Berlin along Route 8, heading closer to Norwich or over to Morris and eventually over to Otsego. So this very thin band of snow is affecting parts of Shenango and Otsego County early this morning. Throughout the day, we climb on paper into the upper 20s, but it's still going to be windy. Take a look at these winds right here. Sustained winds of 20 to 25 miles per hour. You factor that in and it's going to feel like the teens and single digits throughout the entire day today. But eventually the winds do come to an end roughly by tonight and tomorrow. Same thing for today though. The lake effect snow comes to an end. We're talking about partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies and more peaks of sunshine later this evening. A few clear skies tonight, lows falling down into the teens. And then by tomorrow, looking to be a pretty quiet day, but then things turn a little bit on the active side. A very complicated forecast is in store for us heading into this weekend because we are yet again right on that mixing line between rain and snow. And this is one of the toughest calls we have to make in this field on where that cold air sets up. And our in-house model here shows way more cold air going all the way down to Oneonta, and then that warm air surging in, bringing rain in a wintry mix to parts of central New York before that back-end snow band exits our area. But other data shows otherwise, with more rain mixing in south. So for now, we're going to hold off on the official snowfall forecast, but an early heads up is for those of you who live way in the North Country, you're going to be seeing a mainly snow event, while areas in the southern valleys mainly rain with initial snow. Mohawk Valley, the greatest zone of uncertainty. Breezy and windy today, and your 7-day forecast slowly warming up over the next 7 with highs in the upper 40s to low 50s by Tuesday. Be right back.
It's Thursday, March 21st. Good morning, Central New York.
Now, the news with Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, and thank you once again for joining us this half hour. I'm Ben Kinney, in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
And a nice little blanket of snow folks are waking up to this morning, but they're also waking up to some bitterly cold wind chills, Eric.
Yes, that's right. Brushing off my car this morning, I had to brush off the snow, then that layer of ice as that initial snow band, that snow squall earlier yesterday evening, eventually melted and then refroze. But yes, it's cold out there this morning. Definitely bundle up a bit extra as you head out the door. A look at those local wind chills. How about 7 degrees in Rome for your second full day of spring? 12 degrees in Hamilton, a 0-degree wind chill up in Saranac Lake. And a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Some locations are looking dry, but there are other spots that are looking at a greatly reduced visibility. For example, zooming into a snow band just passing north of Gilbertsville, north of Otsego, directly through the intersection of Route 23 and 8 in South New Berlin, and heading north of Norwich towards Sherburne. And Beyond that, the lake effect snow taking place right now will gradually wind down as the morning progresses, giving way to blustery and windy conditions and temperatures on paper in the 20s, with wind chills still remaining in the teens and single digits. We warm a little bit right by tomorrow, drying out once again, but then we're tracking yet again another complicated wintry setup by this weekend. We'll talk about all the latest details, information straight ahead. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. As a local business contractor, you deal.
Welcome back, showcasing the weather photo of the day on this Thursday. This was a debate in the newsroom over the past hour or so because, again, Ben and I and our director, we aren't flower people, but thanks to a viewer who was able to call us, let us know these are Pickwick flowers. On top of that, a beautiful shot of a honeybee pollinating them as well. And this was a scene a few days ago. Today, not so much. We've got snow, it's blustery, it's cold, temperatures are feeling like the single digits this morning. So a reminder of what we saw a few days ago. Spring is on the way, but remember, we do in central New York see full spring. Winter makes its last ditch return before we eventually see that warmer weather. But again, thank you for that photo submitted. If you want to submit a photo like that, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. A live look at the radar. We are still tracking a few lake effect snow bands sticking around parts of the area. We're still looking at a notable one in Otsego and Chenango County. We're going to zoom in and talk more about that in detail coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. As plans to see the next solar...
Most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. Well, it's hard to believe it's the second full day of spring, and it's still looking to be a blustery, cold, and initially snowy start to the day. A live look at our Cavey Tower camera. The camera is shaking a little bit along our tower here on Smith Hill in Deerfield. And we can see in the distance a few snow showers taking place. It is just mainly cloudy skies in Rome, in Utica. 21 degrees officially on paper, but with those strong winds, it feels like 7 degrees out this morning. And reports from some of our sky watchers as well. Bob in Clinton with 20 degrees. Mike in New Hartford also with 20 degrees. He reports 2 inches from that snow squall yesterday evening and 2 more inches from snow overnight. Todd in Westdale with 21 degrees and blowing snow early this morning. Bill and Sean in the North Country with 11 and 18 degrees. Schuyler reporting at 1.7 inches of snowfall, and in the Southern Valley, Stewart and Cooperstown with 18. Scott and Evanston with 19 degrees. Tom and Lawrence 21. Gary and Skevis with 20 degrees, and Mark and Milford with 19. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2, a live radar. We're seeing this lake effect snow start to wind down, but our attention still looks to be right in this zone right here. A narrow, few mile wide snow band impacting the intersection of Route 8 and Route 23 in South New Berlin, heading down to Otego, right along Route 7 and I-88, and a few snowy conditions just a little bit north of Norwich, in between Route 12 and Norwich and Sherburne. But for our Skycast today, that snow eventually does wind down. We see mostly cloudy skies early this afternoon, blustery and windy conditions, wind chills only climbing as high as the low to mid-teens. Partly clearing skies this evening and tonight, and dry weather moves in tomorrow pretty much throughout the day. But as we head into tomorrow night, weather gets active once more, and personally, this is one of the most challenging forecasts we have to do, is when we are right along that mixing line in the atmosphere. We've got snow arriving, pulling in to cold air near the surface, and you can see here just where that rain and snow sets up is still a little bit uncertain. That's our in-house model right there, and other data we are seeing right now still puts that mixing line directly over the Mohawk Valley. So an initial call, we won't put out an official snowfall forecast just yet, calls for mainly snow north of the Mohawk Valley and rain turning to mainly, or snow turning over to mainly rain south of the Mohawk Valley. The Mohawk Valley itself still a bit tricky to forecast. 20s with windy conditions today. In your 7-day forecast, we continue a gradual warm-up heading into the end of this weekend. And in the middle of next week, spring eventually makes its return with highs in the upper 40s to low 50s.
All right, so spring is coming. Just
On the way,
taking its sweet time.
Yeah, I took a vacation
Yeah.
for a few days.
Gotta love it. All right, thank you very much, Eric. A record number of donations.
News with Ben Kinney.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
It is absolutely bone-chilling cold out there today with the wind chills and just in general. Eric, how long is this going to stay like this?
Yeah, it's 20s out right now.
Yeah.
Normally that wouldn't be too bad, but the winds are so strong, it feels so much cooler.
And it's March.
And it's March, yeah, that's the thing too. It's also the second full day of spring, and there's a radar right there, but going to the temperatures for a second, it's still a 9-degree wind chill in the Mohawk Valley. We have not even eclipsed double-digit feels like temperatures so far today, so it is still a bitterly cold early spring day here in central New York, and it's 1 degree feels like temperature currently in Saranac Lake. Now, the blustery conditions continue. Lake effect is weakening, but it's still prevalent in some locations. The valley seeing some sunshine, snow showers still sticking around in other parts south. And over the next 12 or so hours, temperatures on paper still remain in the 20s. Blustery conditions continue. We do dry out tonight and into tomorrow, but we're tracking another weather maker in store for Friday night and Saturday. We'll talk about all the latest details straight ahead. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. New at noon, a Utica man was sentenced in Oneida County Court today for his role in a shooting in the city on Whitesboro Street in 2022.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon and welcome back. This is turning out to be a bitterly cold early spring day, but it is still March. This is not atypical, although what might be atypical are those feels like temperatures. I'll get to that in just a second, but throughout the area, in Oneonta, for example, they just saw a passing snow shower, now just under overcast skies, but if we head into the Mohawk Valley, it's sunshine peeking out too, but even though it does look pretty quiet, don't let that sun fool you. It is downright cold this afternoon. Currently 24 degrees on paper at Griffiths and Rome. You factor in that 23 mile per hour wind, it feels like 9 degrees out there at this point. And throughout all of central New York, we are feeling those chilly temperatures. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2, a live radar. We are seeing a pocket of dry air in the Mohawk Valley. While there is still some lake effect, disorganized cells taking place in the southern valleys. A lot more weak compared to the past few hours where there were some blowing snow conditions during at least the early to mid-morning. Looking at a chance of snow outlook, we start to dry out. But then take a look at this right here. Into the overnight hours into early Saturday morning, almost certain. Now this is not just snow, this is wintry mix, this is also rain, and it all comes from a coastal low set to arrive into central New York Friday night and Saturday. So again, this is what we're seeing right now on the radar and satellite composite, but let's fast forward into tomorrow. We're seeing quiet weather. Then here comes that low pressure. It surges up. That south air collides with that cold air in place and could produce some decent snowfall in some locations, while primarily rain in just others. And looking at our skycast, we can see the exact timing when this begins to arrive. You can see here today, it's drying out, breezy, blustery, cold, temperatures cooling down tonight into the teens, but the winds thankfully will be diminishing for the most part. Then tomorrow, a quiet start, a few passing clouds, and then by the evening, here comes the snow showers by 10 p.m. to around midnight, and this will surge in with some warmer air. So our first thoughts with the system, arriving for tomorrow and Saturday is going to be primarily snow north of the Mohawk Valley, a wintry mix, icy conditions in the Mohawk Valley, and primarily rain south. And a wintry mix is possible anywhere where the cold layer is thin enough. Remember, there's cold air already present, and warm air is surging north, eroding that cold air in place. And so that all determines exactly what type of precipitation we see. It's certain we're going to see something, but it's still uncertain exactly what type as we head into Friday night and Saturday. But today, it's breezy, decreasing clouds, and it's cold. And your 7-day forecast, slowly warming up over the next few days. We are gradually climbing into more spring-like weather as we approach the final few days of March and entering the early weeks of April.
So slow and steady start to spring.
Slow and steady, even though it was an abrupt return to winter.
Yeah, very, very abrupt, to say the least. A rude wake-up call, for sure. Thank you very much, Eric. It's the most common. Good afternoon once again. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2, meteorologist Eric Gage.
And we have a beautiful picture here we learned this morning, if you're watching during News Channel 2 Sunrise.
It was a hilarious debate of trying to figure out what we figured it was a crocus, but thankfully someone called in and told us it was a
Pickwick crocus.
Yes, so we learned about that, and a great shot of these, an early bloom, and if you notice right in the screen there too as well, a beautiful shot of the honeybee sent in from Kate. So again, thank you for this shot, and even though we have this right here, a different story is going on outdoors right now. I figured I'd lighten the mood with some bright flowers and colors right now. But let's take a look at the current wind chills at this point. How about a balmy 9 degrees for a second full day of spring and a late March day? It's still blustery, it's windy. A few light lake effect snow showers still taking place in parts of the southern valleys at this point. It will continue to lift northward a little bit and then continue to weaken over the next few hours. So we'll be dodging some blowing snow, a mixture of sunshine here and there, but the strongest of the snow that we saw yesterday and overnight is over and done with. And you can see here over the next 12 or so hours, blustery conditions, temperatures on paper in the 20s, wind chills still struggling to reach the 10-degree mark in the Mohawk Valley. Following this, though, winds do calm down, but temperatures will fall into the teens overnight tonight. And we're looking at a dry start Friday before more unsettled weather arrives on Saturday. We'll talk about all the latest details on a potential wintry mix straight ahead. Ben?
Eric, thank you very much. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon and welcome back, everyone. It's still a bitterly cold day out there today with temperatures in the 20s, wind chills a lot cooler in the single digits. But we are seeing some sunshine peeking out here in the Mohawk Valley. A different story for areas south, which are still seeing some remnant lake effect snow taking place right now. Current conditions, 24 officially in Rome, but the wind speeds just nearly as strong. And I don't think I've ever seen near identical winds and temperatures. So of course that brings those feels-like conditions down to a whopping 9 degrees out there today. Still going to remain cold throughout this afternoon and this evening, and you can see here still some lingering lake effect. It's lost the majority of its strength. It's sputtering out a little bit, and it will continue to decrease in strength as the afternoon continues on. And following that, we do dry out tonight. Remain entirely dry for the start and middle of Friday, but this is when things get a little bit more unsettled. So into Friday night and into early Saturday, we're tracking a coastal low that could produce a variety of weathery systems here in central New York. I'm going to explain all the details on that. Bigger picture is we can see here lingering lake effect, but high pressure building in a little bit. That's what's keeping things quiet heading into tonight and into tomorrow. But going back to here and going forward, for the next few days, we're seeing dry weather, and then here comes that coastal low surging into that cold air in place, and you can see some mixing moving into parts of central New York as well as some rain south. And that's the difficult part of this forecast, is fine-tuning exactly where that mixing takes place. And zooming in, we can start to see that snow begin to arrive at the earliest, maybe 10, 11 p.m. at night. But the mixing itself won't start to begin until well beyond midnight over parts of central New York. As we can take a look right here, Friday looking mostly dry, and then here comes the initial round of snow before that mixing started to take place. And here's the early call of the forecast for this weekend. Areas north will primarily stay as snow. There's enough deep, cold air in place to keep things relatively cool up here, but with the thin, cold layer in place in the Mohawk Valley and areas just south, this could cause a potential for freezing rain, sleet, a mixture of snow and rain, pretty much everything but the kitchen sink here in this purple area right as well. But as you head farther south, the warm air is just strong enough to where it'll primarily be rain, but you still could see 1 or 2 snow showers in the span of that as that cold air first moves in and then moves back out. We can see here the wintry mix is possible where the cold layer is thin enough. But for today, we'll talk about more quiet weather, still blustery with decreasing clouds, temperatures in the 20s, wind chills single digits. 7-day forecast, a slow and gradual warm up over the next 7 or so days from a low of 11 degrees tonight to near 51 and 53 by next week. So
that's a little bit of a turnaround.
Rebounding a little bit.
Wow.
Spring is slowly making its return after a very sharp arrival of winter once again.
Yeah, we'll be definitely be keeping a close eye Saturday. Gonna be
Yes.
close, but
Fingers crossed it doesn't cause any major issues, but we'll of course look at more data as it comes in.
all right, awesome. Thank you very much, Eric. There's an urgent manhunt this
With Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis, and yes, we are talking alert day for tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, we're tracking a rain-snow mix. Heavy snow accumulation is going to be possible, especially along higher terrain north of the Mohawk Valley. Let's take a look at the alert day graphic here, and just to show you, these are some of the highlights. Again, rain and snow arrives Friday night and into Saturday. Most of this falls overnight, so I'm not expecting any large impacts during the peak of the event, because again, this is from about midnight to about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, but it does linger into Saturday. And again, we're talking about the potential of some heavy snow in these areas, looking at the North Country under a winter storm watch, northern Oneida, northern Herkimer, Hamilton, Lewis County. There's going to be a sharp cutoff here with more rain involved across the southern valleys. A few flurries linger out there this evening. It's been a cold day, a temperature of 25. Still seeing some light snow out of Griffiths and Rome. It feels like 10. And as we head into this evening, those snow showers will linger, but very little accumulation is expected. Cold tonight, cold tomorrow, and then tracking another round of some winter weather before spring returns. Got a look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. After a vote last night by
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. We're tracking cold weather that's going to linger around into tonight, tomorrow, and then a rain-snow mix as we head into tomorrow night. There is an end in sight, though, as we look ahead. Spring is coming back. You just got to be a little bit more patient. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Widespread light flurries, light snow showers. They've been in the air throughout the day. This is caused by cold air aloft and the March sunshine. The little peaks of sunshine that we do get is creating some what we call convective instability. It's just a fancy way of saying very light snow showers that happen during the day. As the sun sets, a lot of this activity will go away. And we're expecting any flurries out there to come to an end. Very little accumulation is expected. But again, don't be surprised if those flurries do linger around at least through this evening. Another cold day tomorrow. The wind will not be quite as strong. We do have a wind chill in the morning, but then the wind chill will become a lot less in the afternoon. High temperatures will be close to 30. Another cold day tomorrow. Then the weather will start to change, especially as we head into early next week. Live look in downtown Utica, cloudy skies. That wind today, it definitely put a bite into the air. Wind chills have been in the teens for most of the afternoon. As we look at the radar and satellite image, again, things look pretty quiet here once the snow showers come to an end tonight. We'll see continued dry weather tomorrow, but then our weather changes. We've got a nor'easter that's on the way for Friday night and Saturday. Tonight, mostly clear skies. Overnight lows drop down into the teens, so it's going to be a cold night. The outlying spots, especially north, may get down into the single digits. Friday starts out with mostly cloudy skies. It's a cold day. The winds come in from the north, very light compared to today. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s around 1 o'clock in the afternoon and close to 30 for the high. Heading into Friday evening, the weather remains dry, but after, say, 9, 10 o'clock, widespread snow is expected to develop, and that snow is expected to change over to rain south of the Mohawk Valley. Slippery conditions develop after midnight Friday. And into early Saturday, the roads will be pretty messy in the morning, especially north of the Mohawk Valley. A rain-snow mix continues as we head into Saturday afternoon, and then it comes to an end by Saturday evening. As far as accumulation goes, this could be a pretty heavy accumulation north of the Mohawk Valley. It's going to be that wet, sticky snow. The potential of 6 to 12 inches is possible across northern Oneida County, northern Herkimer County, Hamilton County, and Lewis County. South of the Mohawk Valley, this is looking to be mainly rain, but there's a lot of things that could change here. Any shift in the track is going to change these zones. The least confident spot here is right in the Mohawk Valley, right on this changeover line. Right now, about 3 to 6 inches of snow, but there could be some ice mixing in here too. So again, plan on some tricky travel here Friday night into early Saturday. And again, that could linger into early Saturday afternoon. Cold tonight, down to 11. Tomorrow, look at mostly cloudy skies, highs near 30. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. The weather does warm up. Sunday, 39, 49 on Monday. And then we're back to 50 degrees Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But, man, can't get there soon enough.
No, right. Bill, thank you.
Yeah.
8 women who are going.
Here's Bill.
We're tracking wintry precipitation as we head into Friday night and Saturday. I hope this is the last time that I have to show this graphic for the season. Yeah, we're talking about a mix, rain, snow, and freezing rain and sleet, the in-betweens. And I just want to show you this graphic as to how this works. When you have a push of warm air aloft, it doesn't just snow, it doesn't just rain. You get this combination of the two where rain falls into this colder layer near the surface. And this is going to be the case tomorrow night, especially across the Mohawk Valley. This could create some icy conditions across the area. Again, we'll be dealing with more of that here again Friday night. A little bit of wintry weather out there today. It's mainly the cold and the wind, but we've been seeing a few flurries out there. We'll have a look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Current temperature is 25 degrees. It feels like 10 with the wind. Maybe a good night to skip. But if you do go, make it short. Temperatures will be in the 20s. Tonight's featured dog Sadie from Oriskany Falls. If you want to be part of this, head to Skycast, WKTV on Facebook. This is brought to you by Nye Automotive Group. Some warmer weather is ahead once we get through the next couple of days. A look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Bitter cold.
It is
out there.
bitter. I was cold in here today.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. A cold day today. Temperatures climbed into the 20s, but with the wind, felt like teens. In fact, the current wind chill is 10 at Griffiths and Rome. Bundle up if you're heading outdoors. It's going to remain cold tonight. Air temperatures will drop into the low teens. The winds will back off and will not be as strong tomorrow. So a little bit of good news there. A few flurries continue to fall across central New York this evening. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. A little accumulation is expected tonight, just enough maybe to coat the ground, not cause any issues on the roads. The winds will not be as strong tomorrow. We will not have as much of a wind chill. Air temperatures will be close to 30, but it will feel a lot warmer than it was today. Again, wind chills tomorrow afternoon will be in the upper 20s. Downtown Utica, a live look this evening. You can see the roads are generally clear, even though we've been having flurries throughout the day. Here's a look at our sky watchers, our neighbors checking in with the temperature. Whitesboro, 25 degrees. Fairfield, 26. Old Forge, 18. Inlet, Eric with 19. Westford, 23. Carroll and Worcester checking in with 27. Pretty quiet out there today. Again, just a couple of flurries. Our next weather maker arrives Friday night, tomorrow night. And this one is going to be quite a doozy here, bringing a mix of snow and rain and even some sleet and freezing rain. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast tonight. We're dry, cold, overnight lows in the teens. Tomorrow, we start out with a few breaks of sunshine, but the clouds will quickly take over the sky. Temperatures climb into the upper 20s. So another cold day, but not as windy. We're still dry here Friday evening, but after 7 p.m., snow begins to break out. The roads generally become slippery near and after midnight, and we're looking at a rain-snow mix. There's a higher chance of seeing rain south of the Mohawk Valley and a higher chance of seeing snow north of the Mohawk Valley. This is a close call, though. We are in the Mohawk Valley. We're right on the edge here. Precipitation continues Saturday morning. Plan on slippery travel early Saturday. Conditions improve Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening as the nor'easter heads to the east. Here's a look at the snowfall accumulation. Looking at a general 6 to 12 inches of snowfall Friday night and Saturday for the higher elevations north of the Mohawk Valley, and mainly rain from the Route 20 corridor south. In between, this is the toughest call of all. It looks like a combination of rain, snow, even some sleet and freezing rain for the Mohawk Valley. As far as snowfall goes, 3 to 6 inches here, but again, pretty low confidence. Any shift in the track would make a pretty dramatic change to the forecast here. And again, it is going to be a very close call. Here are some of the headlines here. Again, beginning Friday, ending as we head into Saturday. With the weather warming up, though, by next week, anything that does accumulate will be melting pretty quickly here, especially by Monday and Tuesday. Cold tonight, down to 11. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies are dry during the day, a high of 30. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast, rain and snow Friday night and Saturday. Sunday, sunshine, 39. Temperatures warm up. Spring is back. We're looking at highs near 50 Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll be right back.
News with Kristen Copeland and Jason Pallas.
It's bitter cold outside right now, but things are changing for tomorrow night into Saturday.
Yeah, so let's start with Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. He's tracking that alert day and what you can expect. Bill, good evening.
Yeah, we upgraded Friday night to an alert day. We're talking about a wintry mix. We're talking about rain and snow, but the very likely possibility that slippery roads will be with us Saturday morning. We're talking about a heavy snow accumulation north of the Mohawk Valley and a rain-snow mix in and south of the Mohawk Valley. Winter storm watches have been posted for the North Country. This includes northern Oneida, Lewis, northern Herkimer, and Hamilton counties, again, for Friday night and Saturday. Dealing with some snow showers out there this evening. These will linger into tonight, but the big story has been the cold and the wind. Our current temperature is 26 degrees, but it feels like 13 with that west wind. The wind does become lighter as we head into tonight. Temperatures will fall, though. Flurries around this evening, temperatures in the 20s. We're tracking when this snow and rain arrives for Friday night and how much can accumulate across the area, and that's coming up. Back over to you.
It was supposed to be a conference day in Herkimer County.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Windy, cold weather will stick around, although the winds will be a little bit less tomorrow compared to today. We're also tracking a nor'easter that's going to arrive Friday night and bring us a rain-snow mix. Around the state, winds continue to gust. Latest wind gusts from Rome, 32 miles an hour. The winds will be subsiding this evening and tonight, but it will be windy over the next several days. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. A couple of flurries in the air. These flurries will be going away as we head into tonight. Live look in downtown Utica. The roads are dry. Travel should be fine here tonight and tomorrow. Things look quiet until tomorrow evening, and then things start to change. Our sky watchers, neighbors checking in with our temperatures here. Micah, New Hartford, 26 degrees, Forestport, 24. Inlet, 19. Fairfield, Sandy with 26. And Skanevis with 27 degrees. Things look quiet for now. Again, the weather stays dry for the short term. Again, things are going to be changing Friday night. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast tonight. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. Cold. A lot of places fall into the teens. Yeah, North Country could briefly hit the single digits. Tomorrow, looking at some sunshine in the morning, but the clouds dominate throughout the day. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s, so it will be a cold day. Precipitation starts out as snow as we head into late Friday evening. Still dry at 7 p.m., but if you're traveling after 7, we do expect to see some snow begin to move into the region. Travel becomes tricky after midnight. A mix between rain, snow, even some sleet and freezing rain here as we head into Friday night and Saturday. The general idea is the heaviest snow falls north of the Mohawk Valley, and this does mix in with rain south of the Mohawk Valley. A slippery Saturday morning. The roads will be messy in the morning, but conditions are expected to gradually improve as we head into Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. This is a look at the snowfall forecast. The first thing I want to point out, the first low confidence here that we've issued with these maps, and one of the big reasons why is the track and the temperature, both of which are causing our numbers to be right on the line here, especially for the Mohawk Valley. We do feel confident that the North Country will see a heavy snow accumulation, 6 to 12 inches, and there's a pretty good bet that the southern valleys get rain mixed in. But it's this in-between zone that we are scratching our heads here, because there's likely going to be not only rain and snow, but also some sleet and freezing rain mixing in at times here. And again, this takes us through Friday night and Saturday. We'll have updates. We get information. We get a new update for tonight's 10 and 11. We'll also have an update tomorrow morning, and we're hoping that these numbers become a little bit more concrete. Cold tonight down to 11. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, 30 for the high. Again, a dry day, but again, we're tracking that wintry mix tomorrow night. Sunday, the weather looks dry, sunshine, spring returns. Not soon enough for a lot of us. Temperatures will be close to 50 Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Just got to get through this alert day.
That's right.
All right, thank you, Bill. Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6, Highlands
Palace.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to get to those stories in a moment, though. First, I want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. He's tracking a system that's likely going to make some tricky travel starting tomorrow evening. So we are in alert mode tomorrow.
Yes, it's a combination of rain and snow. The roads are expected to be slippery. We may even see some ice here, too. This will be taking place mostly Friday night. And again, we do have an alert day for this. Again, Friday night into early Saturday. Let's take a look at what we're tracking here as our next weather system comes in. A combination of warm and cold air in place, causing not just snow, not just rain, but likely a mix between freezing rain, sleet, snow, and rain. And this is the general setup with warm air moving in aloft. You tend to get rain that ends up freezing as it makes its way down to the surface. If it freezes before making contact, it's sleet. If it freezes on contact, we call it freezing rain. Mostly clear skies out there this evening. It's cold. 25 degrees is the current temperature. It feels like 12. Tonight, the winds will be calming down. Overnight lows will drop down into the teens. Dry on Friday, but again, tracking that wintry mix as we head into Friday night. Look at the forecasts coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, a months-long investigation by Kansas.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're tracking a few lingering flurries in the air. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar in Madison County, southern Oneida County. Very light activity. This will be coming to an end as we head into tonight. And again, our snow chances will be very minimal during the day tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, that's when our chance of snow goes up. This will likely mix in with some rain at times. And looking at that rain turning back to snow as we head into Saturday. Travel will be tricky. And there will be several inches of snow accumulation, especially north of the Mohawk Valley. Winds are continuing out there tonight. Latest wind gusts from Griffiths and Rome, 28 miles an hour. It's cold out there, but we are starting to see some breaks in the overcast. This is a live look in downtown Utica. With clearing skies tonight, temperatures are going to get quite chilly. Again, those lake effect snow showers will be drifting to the south overnight. Temperatures drop down into the teens tonight. Some breaks of sunshine early tomorrow, followed by clouds. It's going to be a cold day. Looking at high temperatures only in the upper 20s to low 30s. Tomorrow night, things look dry around 7 p.m., but after 7, widespread snow is expected to develop and move in, and the roads are expected to become very slippery overnight. This snow will mix in with rain, especially south of the Mohawk Valley. We could even see some sleet and freezing rain, too, so it looks like a mess here heading into Saturday morning. A mix of rain and snow Saturday during the early part of the day. This turns all over to snow, and then it comes to an end by the afternoon time. Then things will start to improve. In terms of snowfall, a general 6 to 12 inches of snow is expected north of the Mohawk Valley, northern Oneida, northern Herkimer, Hamilton County, especially the higher elevations. South of the Mohawk Valley, there's more mixing that takes place, and a lot of this falls as rain, although we could see a couple of inches of wet, slushy snowfall along higher terrain. In the Mohawk Valley, we're right on the edge. We're right on this cutoff here, and right now the forecast is for 3 to 6 inches of snowfall, but it could go either way, and it would not take much at all to go into the heavy snow zone or into the rain zone here. And a lot of this has to do with the track of the storm and also the temperature. So the confidence is very low here, and we definitely want you to check back as we head into the next 24 hours. We have an update for you. We get new information throughout the day tomorrow, and if we need to make any changes to this map, we'll let you know. Tonight, cold, low of 11. Tomorrow, dry during the day, mostly cloudy, a high of 30. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Again, slippery travel Friday night into early Saturday. We've got an alert day, an alert night, as Saturday morning could be a little slippery. Temperatures in the 30s. Sunday, we're up to 39. Any snow that we do get will be melting big time as we climb into the 50s next week.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. This could be one of the last storms we get.
I don't speak of these things. I've been burned too many times.
All right, I'll burn. Okay. Thanks, Bill. Coming up next, phone maker Apple.
With Jason Palace.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to get to those stories in a moment. First, though, I want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Bill Kardis. He's tracking a system that's going to make things tricky starting tomorrow evening, which is why we're in red.
Yes, an alert day for this upcoming weather system. A mix of rain and snow, although the North Country will be seeing more snow than rain, and this is going to have a high impact on travel in areas that even see some rain. We're still looking at a mixed bag here and some slippery travel again for Friday night into early Saturday. Before we get there, the weather looks pretty quiet tonight. This is a look at the forecast here. I wanted to point out one other thing too. Looking ahead to tomorrow night, in addition to rain, in addition to snow, we may also have some sleet and freezing rain as warm air moves in aloft. That tends to set the conditions for that mixed bag of precipitation. So again, tricky travel expected across the region. 24 degrees is the current temperature, mostly clear skies. That west-northwest wind is still out there, and it's making it feel like 12. Tonight, overnight lows drop down into the teens, mostly cloudy skies. Again, we're tracking this next wintry mix as we head into the start of the weekend and look at the forecast coming out. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, a months-long.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Kardis.
Good evening. Tracking a few lingering flurries across central New York. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Flurries showing up in Madison, southern Oneida County. Little accumulation is expected overnight. It's 24 degrees outside. Again, that west-northwest wind at around 13 miles an hour. It makes it feel like 12. So again, some pretty cold weather out there across central New York. And tonight, temperatures are going to drop down into the teens. Now, we'll stay dry overnight. As we head into tomorrow, we do see the risk for snow increasing, but it's not until after 7 to 8 o'clock at night that the snow begins to break out. A mix of rain and snow tomorrow night, and it's still snowing into Saturday. By Saturday afternoon, the chance for snow will decrease. But again, heading into Saturday during the early afternoon, travel could be tricky up until then. Looking at winds across the state, it's been a windy day. We'll see less wind as we head into the day tomorrow. Live look in downtown Utica, again, pretty quiet conditions out there. The weather's quiet for now, again, about another 12 to 18 hours of dry weather before things begin to change. Heading into tonight, looking at mostly clear skies. Overnight lows drop down into the teens. Sunshine early tomorrow gives way to clouds. It's a cold but dry day. Temperatures climb into the upper 20s. Tomorrow night, snow breaks out. The snow comes down steady to heavy overnight, and it mixes with rain, especially south of the Mohawk Valley. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s overnight. Any mixing turns back over to snow early Saturday. Travel will be tricky the first part of the day, and then things will be improving. This is a look at the snowfall forecast. We haven't changed anything from earlier today. Haven't even changed the confidence here. Still looking at 6 to 12 inches of snow north of the Mohawk Valley. A trace to 3 inches of snow south of the Mohawk Valley. Biggest concern here is where does this mixing line set up? We think it's going to be very close to the Mohawk Valley, and you can see how dramatic these numbers go from a trace of snow to a foot of snow in about 30 to 40 miles here. And because of that, we've got a very low confidence factor here. Just a small jog north or south in the storm track or a small change in the temperature is going to have wild implications on this forecast. We'll be getting updates throughout the day tomorrow. We'll give you an idea on how this is trending. Hopefully it doesn't change, but if we need to make any adjustments, we'll let you know. Cold tonight, down to 11. Tomorrow, 30 degrees for the high, mostly cloudy skies. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Again, rain and snow here for Friday night and Saturday. We dry out Sunday, 39. Anything that does fall is going to melt. Good. We're close to 50 as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Again, we'll have updates on the forecast tomorrow.
Kind of looks like Sunday, if we do get, snow up north, a ski day. Beautiful sunshine.
You may be able to squeeze in one more.
Squeeze in one more,
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Bill. Coming up next.